Jerry set up the laptop to screen for everyone to look at what Tom's digital cameras had caught. The source of the water had been found. Obama recognized it. That's a cistern system some New Agers built in the last days of the before time. When the monsoons came in July and August around here, they captured all that rain in their cisterns. Old tech, very good. Have to process it to make it drinkable, though. Looks like those buildings there are where they filter it. And maybe add some chemicals, although I don't know where they would get chlorine and stuff like that today. Everyone looked at Ryder. We're going to poison the water, she said. Poison the source. Something really bad. Lots of collateral damage. There's children with these folks. Pregnant women, too. No other way to stop them. These are hard times, and the RVs should know by now. What you sow, you reap. Tom and Jerry swore together. Tom said, I thought I was finished with fucking weapons of mass destruction. Ryder answered back quickly in that quiet, no-nonsense voice she had, more like weapons of mass desperation. Angel then made a bark-like scared sound and troubled laugh. Part of him thought it was funny, given what he'd been up to before running into Ryder and Sanctuary. Obama and the old man just looked way too old, too sad, too unable to stop what has to be. Ryder looked angry. The pack growled very low. Then the wolves in the woods around them started to howl again. Even the air seemed heavy, and the moon hid itself behind some clouds. 5,000 people, said Angel. Just like that, we kill 5,000 people. Won't they notice something when people start to die? Ryder looked at the old man. He spoke. Bugs, he said, like dysentery, cholera, waterborne illnesses, bad bugs, parasites from animal shit. They'll think the water's clean because it comes from a clean source. Won't be looking for that kind of attack. They'll be rationing water everywhere, see to everybody getting a fair share every day. Some may survive, but those that do will be too ill to help any others. They'll all have to drink a couple of days' worth of these bugs before they even notice the first ones is getting sick. Obama spoke next. Those mercs, you think they won't take care of their own water, have their own chemicals and stuff? Former military should have all kinds of stuff, maybe. Sure, she said. But they won't know who. Might look for a while like some kind of weird play by the RVs themselves or some of the other groups. This makes a kind of chaos. That's where Angel comes in. He goes with me in horse and pack on the bike. Does something to make a distraction while I dope the water. If I can get to the trucks, one or two, I can also pollute their plumbing systems. How they dump and pump and stuff. Their guards chase off after Angel, and I sneak inside the grounds where the cisterns are and do the bad things. With luck, they won't kill Angel, and we'll get him back. With luck, they won't kill me, but then they wouldn't survive pack. Lots of ways this can go bad. You'll know soon enough if it works. Old man can help you travel parallel and watch what happens. I doubt they'll get 100 miles before the whole mass collapses into chaos and anarchy. We, or you, watch and see if what survives tries to go further north. You should be able to handle whatever's left, which I guarantee will not be much and not be strong or healthy. Sobered by all these thoughts, they all fell silent. The fire crackled as Obama fed it some more wood. Jerry brought out a harmonica and played some sad songs, some soul dance and cowboy blues. Some of the wolves lurking in the woods around them joined in again. The moon came out once more. Angel thought he saw a couple of tears on Ryder's face, but didn't say anything. What was there to say? Hard times, harder choices. The plan worked, mostly. The guards at the cistern shot Angel in the thigh with a rifle, through and through, no arteries or bones hit. He fell off the bike, which decided to suicide and blow up when it crashed. The guards came out to kill him, but the pack showed up, and after a few exchanges of growls and shots, the guards decided where the better part of valor lay. Ryder got inside and did the deed. The guards left Angel alone, figuring he was wolf meat anyway, which enabled him to tie off the wound with part of his shirt and his belt. The pack led him to a nearby ravine where he waited for Ryder in the night. He got to ride back behind Ryder on horse, which led him in the direction of certain ideas, but she made it clear to him that he wasn't yet a true man, so he best keep those kinds of ideas to himself. They were a couple days late getting back to the truck, partly because Horse had to carry them both, and they had to work around and get ahead of the RV army to catch up to Tom and Jerry and the old man. Obama had gone home, wherever that was. There was some beer shared around when it was seen that they had survived. They followed the army at a distance while it slowly and haphazardly traveled up the old interstate highway north from Phoenix area toward what remained of Flagstaff. The saguaro cactus desert was giving way to pine forests near the former Prescott and Sedona areas of Arizona when the army just stopped moving completely. It had been more and more stringing out, elongating, and then it just stopped moving at all. Parts of it burned brightly at night, people probably burning bodies. Trucks and other kinds of more mobile vehicles broke away, but soon they too stopped, kind of like rats leaving a sinking ship only to die about half a day out or so. They debated about doing an ultralight flyover, but the old man said no. And when he looked at Ryder, she just shook her head yes, and slipped away with horse and pack in the night, this time dressed in her gear, swords and face paint and all. Tom and Jerry and Angel took up positions watching. Jerry unpacked the sniper rifle just in case. She was 5 days moving through that huge killing field. Carrion birds were everywhere, and the wolves that had followed them drifted close by on their way to the killing field, letting themselves be seen, but made no move toward their camp. The old man gathered herbs and stuff, taking care of Angel's wound, and then mounted the ultralight and took off following the path the pack and Horse and Rider had taken and marked. Through the sniper scope, Jerry provided descriptions, mostly of the old man, who kept himself far more visible than did Rider. The old man was making fires, and herb smells sometimes drifted near where they waited. Sometimes they heard singing floating on the winds that came up at night. Tom said it was Rider letting out her grief. The three men drank no beer, hardly talked. What was there to say? The old man came back first and set Tom and Jerry to making what he called a sweat lodge. When Ryder came back, she had 2 knife wounds, one on her face. When they looked at her, she just had one word, Mercs. Jerry wanted to sew the cuts up, and she shook her head no. What was weird was that the pack wasn't with her, and when asked, she just shook her head no again. The old man set them to make the fire for the sweat lodge, and they all 4 watched her take off all her bloody clothes and burn them in the fire. Naked and bloody she stood there, and then broke the pair of swords over a knee, as well as the 2 small knives she normally carried in her boots. Later, Tom said privately that she should not have been able to do that. Swordless and clothesless, she crawled into the lodge. When she came out a couple of hours later, Obama walked into the camp, carrying a beautiful fringed and beaded deer cloth dress and some calf-high moccasins, as well as replacements for her usual shirt and pants. After helping her dress in the new dress, he had her sit by the fire and brushed out her hair and wove it into a long braid. No one spoke a word. The next morning the pack arrived, bringing with them about 150 survivors, many children and women, 2 of those pregnant. About noon, a strong wind came up, and the fires in that huge killing field increased in ferocity, and soon the whole desert there was ablaze. Periodically unexploded ordnance went off, with loud bangs and spitting pieces of burning metal. It was hard not to see this as beautiful, and when Obama stood tall, facing the fireworks, arms outspread, and sang what had to be a prayer before wandering off again, it was difficult not to feel this awfulness was also something holy. They were 2 weeks getting back to Sanctuary, but the ultralight had gone on ahead, and over 100 people, including families, came down to greet the newcomers and explain to them their possibilities. Teller of stories told tales of Sanctuary every night around the campfires as they traveled north. For the first week, Tom and Jerry took game along with the pack so as to feed everyone. When the families from Sanctuary arrived, a bit of joy began to bloom, and the shock of recent events started to fade some. Most people didn't talk, not even the children. The one with the most words every day was Teller of Stories. Here is the story he told the first night on the trail north. Keep in mind the way he tells it is as important as the story. He begins as the campfire burns low, and tired adults and children huddling together get ready to enter the realm of Morpheus, the realm of forgetting. This is what he said. Everybody dreams. Night dreams and daydreams are not the same. In night dreams I entertain visitors. In daydreams I entertain myself. In night dreams the dead visit. In the day I am among the living, even when dreaming. Fantasy is good for the soul. The before-time diet of too little fantasy and imagination. The storytellers tried, but the number lovers did not listen. They were too busy counting their gold. A spirit mind wrapped in numbers is cold and has no heart. A civilization without a heart commits suicide in one way or another. Loving numbers is already to be dead to life. The newly dead will visit us all over the next months. Out beyond us was a great sacrifice. Many of you here loved those who died out there. That love is a warmth they will seek. They will not be ready right away to leave the earth time for the star time. They will need us and we will need them. So in the night dreams we will entertain visitors. But to do that right, we have work to do. To help them and to help ourselves, we have to remember even the things we don't want to remember. In the before time, no one much understood about the dead. Few believed there was life after life. So the dead were not important, and the living suffered for ignoring them. A science of just numbers and no imagination killed civilization as surely as did the gold counters. So too a religion of stale ideas frozen in time and space. The before time got old and then died. We of today live in the in-between time. We live after the before time, but not yet in the new time. We live in chaos and anarchy. The burning fire before the new phoenix rises from the cold ashes of destruction. For the new time to come, we have to remember the imagination and lose our attachment to dead and cold ideas. So in the next days, once we get to what might become your new home, the place we call sanctuary, we have to start to remember those who just died. So when you get to the campfires in sanctuary, be ready to tell stories about the life you were leading, even the bad things, even the horrible and terrible things. Especially the awful things, the things we most want not to remember. It will be easier than you think because the dead will come and visit in the night and remind you. Sometimes we call these kinds of dreams nightmares. They scare us, and we might even wake up screaming. But I promise you, if you will tell of the scary dark things that visit in the night, over time they will visit less and less. They want to leave. But before they can leave the earth time to go to the star time, they need to finish something. They need to finish finding out who they are. They got lost in life and didn't find out who they are. And so when they die, they don't know, and they depend on us to tell them. The great majority of the before-time civilization didn't know what a human being was. They believed we were just things, bits of stuff bound up in rules over which we had no power. We came out of stuff, lived as stuff, and then when we died, the stuff fell apart. Dust to dust was the old saying. Problem was the before-time civilization didn't know how to count things of the heart or count things of the imagination. That civilization taught us confusion and unreality, all the time claiming they were giving us reality. Why did something, to be real, have to be able to be counted? So there will be work to come, but no hurry to do the work. It is work because it is hard, although at the same time it is play. It is hard because we are not used to doing it, although at the same time we are not used to doing it out of the imagination and the heart to the degree we need to live. We have to learn to stretch our imaginative and heartstring muscles, as it were. The place you are going, the sanctuary place, a lot of people there have traveled roads just as hard as yours. They will know what you have done and what you have yet to do. They will help you be patient.